What's up? What's up? How are you guys doing? Hope all is well. Hope y'all are enjoying your weekend. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at KDA, XRP, all of the essentials, including all of your coin requests. Love to know your opinion on XRP. That's what Knowledge Seeker is asking. Yep, we're going to take a look at XRP. Now, with XRP, we have come to the top of the range here, okay? Now, if we were to strictly just follow this Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic right over here, you can see that after we had this creek, okay, we had a drive down to the lower bounds of the range, and this is usually where all of the retail sell. Okay, right over here, a lot of people end up panicking when you go below the lows of this range. And then and this is what's called your spring. After your spring comes in, you have a retraction back into the range. So you have your initial advance. And then if we look a little closer, you see how it says spring and test. So you have a spring back into the range, and then you test the range lows as support. So we did that over here. Okay. Now I was warning my Discord members, and I was saying that if we end up getting a daily close above the 200-day moving average, then it's very likely that the bottom is in. Okay. Because once you get above the 200-day, then it's very likely we're going to have a jump across the creek. Now, what do I mean by jump across the creek? Well, during this range, this was your creek over here. You see how we were just creaking down, up and down, chopping out investors to the long side and to the short side, and then you have this sudden drive down, okay? Then you have your spring, your initial advance, your test, move above the 200-day would confirm the jump across, and we successfully got that, okay? So it looks like the schematic is playing out perfectly. Now, the only thing that needs to happen in order for us to continue this move up is our backup / LPS. So we need to have a little bit of consolidation here. Now, I was telling my Patreon members yesterday, there's going to be 3 scenarios to this, okay? On how XRP is going to do this back test. So this is our range over here, and XRP is up here, okay? It's either going to be a sudden back test, it's going to be very quick, and the rest of the market is going to flush as well, and then we're going to have rapid continuation, or it's going to be more of a controlled correction, right? Chopping out investors to the long side and to the short side, right? And then we finally get that push down, and then we have rapid continuation. The third scenario would be that we don't really back test the top of this range, and we just continue on up, okay? You can see that we are finding a little bit of resistance here. You see we have yesterday we had a red daily candle. Today is red as well. So I want to see how how the weekly closes. The weekly closes let me see over here. Weekly closes in 1 day and 10 hours. So we'll see how this plays out. But just a reminder that the macro wave 4 correction on XRP is finished. And you don't want to look to be taking profits yet, okay? Because we haven't had this phase yet. We haven't had this continuation phase. Once you go into that continuation phase, that's when you want to be looking to take profits. But so far, we are bullish, but let's not rule out some small time frame consolidation, okay? Now, let me just pop up this chat real quick. I want to see what you guys are asking for here. 1 sec. Yeah, we can take a look at PDI. If you don't mind, can you please send the contract address of PDAI in the chat. And we're also going to take a look at the PulseChain ecosystem. I know a lot of people in here are invested into PulseChain. You know, I'm super bullish on the current structure of PulseChain. And I'm going to show you guys PulseX really quickly, but I want to dive into the subwaves of XRP first. Okay, so these are the subwaves of XRP. Now, just a reminder, this is all just an estimated trajectory. We're going to have to alter these waves as the price develops in the Discord. So if you guys haven't joined the Discord, then click the link in the description below to join so you can stay up to date every day with XRP. Now, taking a closer look here, it does look like we're still in wave 3, okay? This is your wave 1. This is your wave 2, and we're still within our wave 3 to the upside. Within our wave 3, we're within subwave 3, okay? And it looks like we finished this subwave 3 over here, and we may come down, keyword is may, we may come down for an A, B, C correction just to, like I said, tap the top of this range for your backup phase before we have continuation to the upside, okay? So we're going to be altering these wave counts as the price develops in the Patreon. And right now we're going through some weekend chop. Remember, there's lower liquidity on weekends, okay? So you may get a lot of sideways movement, a lot of manipulation to the upside and to the downside, but overall, just know that the macro trend is up, okay? Let's take a look at Bitcoin really quickly. Now, here's what I'm thinking on Bitcoin. Do you guys see this structure right here? How we had your move down, we have your low set in, your creep up, and then we have a higher low before continuation. I noticed that it looks very similar. You have your low come in, your creep up, your partial decline to make a higher low, and it may chop around here a bit, and then you have continuation up. So we could have this same thing playing out. If we were to just eye Bitcoin's wave count, we could say that this over here is your wave 1. Okay, so going all the way up to the daily time frame, right? It's very clear that we're in wave 5, right? This would be your wave 1. This would be your wave 2 with 150 days of reaccumulation. This is your wave 3. This is your wave 4 after 7 months of this broadening wedge structure. And this looks to be like a wave 5 of 5, okay? So within this wave 5 of 5, we have your wave 1, okay? This is your wave 1. This is your wave 2. And now we're within wave 3, okay? Within that wave 3, this is a wave 1, a wave 2. Okay? And then this over here could be, so this would be your 1, this is your 2, and this is your 1, 2, 3, right? Or the 3 is already in. This is your 4. Then we go up for a 5, and that would be your wave 3. So we still have a long ways to go. I mean, let's take a look here at this this other chart that I created on Bitcoin. And let's take a look here. So this is the chart over here that I created for Bitcoin's macro structure. And I still do think that 130 $37,000 to $162,000 gets hit, and that's simply because this is the inverted head and shoulders target. You see how you had your left shoulder over here from December to January, head in March to April, and then your right shoulder was June to July. Okay, and then if we have the one-to-one target would take you to around 160K. Okay, so I still do think that we have some more upside, but not before we have some weekend volatility and chop. Okay, but overall, this would be the full wave count on Bitcoin. You see, when you take a fib from the very high over here down to this low, the 2.618 is sitting right there at 156,000. So I think we reached there. And then if you take a fib from this March high down to this August low, look where the 3.618 to 4.618 extension is. 137, 152, and 162K. Now, just a reminder, Bitcoin can continue to go up and continue its ascent, all while Bitcoin dominance goes down. Okay, so during this last parabolic phase in Bitcoin, smart money is shifting out of Bitcoin and they're getting into the altcoins. You already see on-chain that a lot of the long-term holders in Bitcoin back in 2010 to 2015, 2016 era, they're starting to sell off their bag, right? They're likely shifting into ETH or, other altcoins. But yeah, this is what I think. Smart money is shifting into altcoins. But although smart money is shifting into altcoins and Bitcoin dominance will go down, Bitcoin can still go up. Okay? So yeah, that's what I think. This is XRP. Just some weekend chop, some weekend volatility. Just coming down for your backup phase in the Wyckoff reaccumulation structure. No need to panic. No need to sell. Continue on holding because we have yet to have the real parabolic move to the upside. Okay, I'm just gonna pop up this chat. I'm gonna see what everyone is saying. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at PulseX. Okay. We're going to take a look at the PulseChain ecosystem. So now with PulseX, if we invert the chart, okay, like I did over here. So this is the regular chart, okay? You see? It's just a wedge pattern. But if we invert it, we could see that it's following this distribution schematic perfectly. The reason we're inverting the chart is so you can put things into a different perspective, so it's easier to understand. Now, I was telling my Discord members yesterday, or I think it was 2 days ago, as long as we stay above these two levels at 4.01709 and 4.01994, then we should see a rapid incline to this internal range liquidity at 3.0103 and 3.0139. Okay, now right to the top of the range from the current price, that would be a nice 5x. And we could see the same thing and it's obviously going to go above the highs of this range. So we're looking at much more of a gain, and the same thing can be said about PLS as well. Taking a look at PLS on the inverted chart, we can see that it's forming a Wyckoff distribution schematic, but it's schematic number 1 instead of schematic number 2, which PulseX is doing. So this is schematic number 2. But for PLS, this is schematic number 1. Okay. You see how with this move over here on March 30th we swept these lows? This would be considered your up thrust after distribution. So on PulseX, the move to the top of the range would be a little bit over a 5x. For PLS, the move to the top of the range would be around a 9x. Okay, so yeah, this is what I expect on PLS. As long as we can stay above, these two levels, then we should be good to go. And you know what other coin I'm really bullish on in the PulseChain ecosystem? PHEX. Because PHEX, you can kind of consider it like EHEX 2.0, right? So let's take a look here at HEX. Okay, yeah, so this is PHEX, and I want to show you guys something. Put a moving average onto the chart, and let's take a look at the 9-week moving average. And you can see that every single time we got above the 9-week moving average, we saw a nice push up right over here, right over here, okay, right over here, every single time. Right, it never failed. Even over here, we got a nice push up, but it just ended up being a fake out. But regardless, we still got that push up, right? Now over here, you can see that we're trying to inch our way above the 9-week moving average. So once we get above this level right here, at around 0.0065, then it's very likely we would be headed towards these highs over here that were formed on February 25th at 0.018. Now, this is also forming a bullish dragon pattern. Do you guys see this? This is your left foot of the dragon, your right foot of the dragon, and then this is your head. So I'm going to show you bullish dragon pattern. Okay, do you guys see this? This is what it looks like. See, you have your left foot, your right foot, and then your head. So it's very likely that if PHEX gets above this 9-week moving average, then we're off to the races, right? We're going to go up to this supply zone over here. And then eventually we should be headed towards the macro fibs over here at around 7 cent, 10 cent, 15 cent, and 18 cent. Okay? But I really like how it's just oscillating back and forth between this supply and demand zone. Really, really bullish. And last but not least, let's take a look at incentive token. So now this is what I expect on incentive token. There's two scenarios to incentive token, right? I'm super bullish on PLS, PulseX, and PHEX, right? And I did say that as long as we stay above those levels, then we should be good for more upside. And same goes for incentive token. As long as we stay above $1.04 to $1.25, then we should be good for a move to 16 to 26, and possibly even a move to 43 and above this all-time high right over here. Okay. We're going to take a look at some other coins that you guys have. And yeah, let's just check this out. Let's check out the chat here. So Stefan is asking, how high do you think XRP will go in 2025? I think it'll definitely, I shouldn't say definitely, but I would say it's most likely it would go above $5 to $6 before the end of 2025. Yeah, we can definitely take a look at KDA and Flare. Actually, I just posted a Flare video for my Patreon members this morning, and we can also take a look at CRO, no problem. So let's see here. All right, Flare networks. I'm getting a lot of requests for Flare, so let's check this out. So this is Flare. I actually made this chart just this morning here. So this is Flare right here. Okay. Now, as long as Flare can stay above 0.0162, then it's very likely that the correction is over. Okay. We're already above the 9-week moving average, so that's already bullish. We're above all of the major daily moving averages. So if we look at the 21-day, 50-day, and 100-day moving average, we're above it all, right? Above the 21-day, above the 50-day, and we're also above the 200-day. So as long as it can stay above those moving averages, and as long as it can stay above this level, then it wouldn't surprise me that Flare makes its way to the top of this range over here. You see this supply zone over here, how many times we rejected off of it? We rejected off of it in January of 2023, February of 2024. So it's more likely than not we'll come up here, see a little bit of a rejection. That doesn't mean sell, right? Remember what I said in my last live. You don't want to sell you don't want to sell your spot bags in the range. You only want to become a buyer. The only time you want to look to sell is when you have expansion above the range. So let's say this is your range right here, okay? Let's say this is your range. You don't want to sell in this range unless you want to put a trading bag aside. You can sell every time it comes up to this supply zone, and you could become a buyer every time it comes down to this demand zone. But you always want to have some dry capital aside just in case we sweep this low, this psychological low, for your manipulation move. And you want to go heavy in. You want to go heavy once it does this. Okay. Now, our first scenario on Flare was that it would do this. But since we got above all of these moving averages, and since we saw this pop up, then it's likely that instead of this being a B, C, D, E, it was just a W, X, Y, okay? And just a reminder, like I said, going back to my point, don't sell within this range unless you want to trade it, unless you want to be a trader. The only time you sell is when you go above the range into expansion. That's the only time you want to look to become a seller. You don't want to be... Now, who are you selling to? You're selling to all of the retail who are buying this, right? You want to do the exact opposite. The retail are selling in the range, and they're especially selling once we get that manipulation. You want to become a buyer in the range and a seller in the distribution phase. Okay, so you have your accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Now, the next target would be at around 0.056 to 0.064 at the 1.618 to 1.786 extension. When we take a trend-based fib from the bottom of this low to the top of this wave 1 and down to the bottom of our wave 2, we'd likely see a minor correction here. Let me just remove this background so you guys can see a little bit better. Then we likely see a minor correction and then go up for a extension of the wave 5, for a wave 5 extension. TP targets would be at around 12 to 13 cent, 18 to 19 cent, and then 26 to 30 cent. The reason we're saying 30 cent, and we've had this target for such a long time, is simply because that's the 4.236 extension, right? That's the 4.236 extension. When you take a fib from this February high down to this April low. And then when you also take a fib right from the high over here down to this low, the 618 is at around 26 cent. So 25 to 30 cent is where you want to look to take profit. We also have our mitigation block up here. So this is our mitigation block. Okay, I'll show you guys. See, this is what a mitigation block is. Okay, it'll be right here. So this is where you want to look to sell your flare, not financial advice. Okay, so all right, so yeah, I did say I was gonna do PDI. Let me find the PDI contract address. The reason I didn't do it is because it's so hard to find on Dex Screener. So let me get that contract address for you guys, and then we'll take a look at PDI. Let me just go on my Discord here. Yeah, we'll take a look at ADA. I actually did ADA yesterday night for my members, and I want to show you guys something so interesting that I found on ADA. I'm just trying to find the contract address for PDI. I got it right here. So let's take a look. Okay, let's go to Dex Screener. And we'll check out PDI. Okay, so this is PDI. Now, there's two scenarios that I marked out for PDI. Let's just increase the size of this. So you see how PDI was in this range over here? There was two scenarios. So it's either that this was a successful test of the range as support, because we used it as resistance back in March, April, and May, and now we've gotten above it and we've used it as support in July. Now we're above all of the daily moving averages. We're above the 9, 21, 50, and 100-day moving average. So it's either that we continue the move up, right, and we continue the parabolic ascent, which is what we're seeing. We're above all of the daily moving averages. Or if Bitcoin nukes and the whole market nukes, then it's going to go back into range bound mode. Okay, it's not going to do this. It's just simply going to go back into range bound mode. But so far, what the chart is showing us is that it is ready for a continued move to the upside. Okay, you know what I like about PDI is that right from the top over here, we went down over 99.5%. Now, usually in crypto, when you go down by 99% or more, the odds of going down more from there are less likely than us going up and having a relief rally. So now what we can do for PDI is take a fib from this very high down to this low, and we would be expecting a move up to this 50% fib and the 61.8% fib. So from the current price, that would be a nice 300%. And then you may form a little bit of a pattern here and then continue on up. But we would ultimately be targeting the 786, which would be a 400% gain. Okay, it can definitely go higher. Okay, I'm just looking at the chart and the fibs. And if we start finding resistance here at the 618, like around here, 702 and 786, then you can look to take partials, okay? you can look to take profit. However, we can go ahead and make a new all-time high as well, right? If we're expecting this in the PulseChain ecosystem, right, then it's very likely that people are going to be speculating on the meme coins in the PulseChain ecosystem, right? If PLS does this, then it wouldn't surprise me that PDAI comes up here. Right up here. Sorry, this is yeah, comes up here, 0.026. Okay, right up here. And these are the 3 fibs you want to pay attention to. So when PDAI comes up here, watch how the price reacts. Okay, if we get a move above 0.0264, then it's very likely that we're going to take out this high and make a new all-time high. Okay, and that would be definitely a sight to see. Be really cool. But yeah, really bullish on PDAI and the PulseChain ecosystem. And remember, if the core coins are bullish, then it's very likely that market participants are going to speculate hard on the meme coins, such as PDAI. Okay, let me pop up the chat here. Let me see what you guys are asking for. So SK is saying, your ADA vid a few weeks ago helped me position my bags. That's beautiful. That's great. I'm glad my video helped. Yeah, let's take a look at ADA. I'm so bullish on ADA, guys. I made a video yesterday for my members, and I want to show you my findings, okay? But before we take a look at ADA, I want you guys to look at my Doge chart, and we're gonna tie it. We're gonna tie both of them together. The reason we're taking a look at Doge is because it's doing the exact same thing as ADA. Look at Doge here on the logarithmic scale. Do you guys see this? This is the Livermore speculative chart. You see, when you have 7 touch points, then you blast off. You can kind of consider it like an accumulation cylinder or a funnel. And this is exactly what we're doing with Doge. Okay, we have 7 touch points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. And then in my last update on Doge, I did say that we were going to come up to 24 cents. We've successfully done that. We've rejected off of this level once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So we may come down a bit, but ultimately we would be expecting a rapid incline to the higher fibs. And you know what? ADA is no different. Let's go ahead and take a look at ADA over here. See, ADA, when you take a look at it on the linear chart, look what it's doing, guys. Do you guys see this? And we have 7 touch points, and it's doing the exact same thing as Doge. You see how it came up to this small time frame supply? We've rejected off of it once, twice, or I should put it right here. So once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. These are your DCA fibs. So if ADA comes down here, do not panic. It would be a dip for buying for the anticipation of the last and most explosive parabolic phase within ADA's market cycle. Okay, we would likely come to around 373 to 415. If you get above 415, then we're coming to 481 to 529. Okay, and you know what's so amazing about ADA is that these tops are connecting, and it reminds me so much of Bitcoin. Like, take a look at BTC over here, okay? If you take a look at this on the linear chart, you see how it's connecting like this? Do you guys see that? You know, ADA is no different. The only different thing on ADA is that the low is a little bit further down. The lower touch point. Like, take a look at ADA here. You see? It's just the low is a little bit further down. And that's normal because it's an altcoin. But yeah, this is what I'm expecting on ADA. And you know what? It can go much higher than this. So take the majority of your profits at this first yellow box, not financial advice. And save some coins aside just in case we get these moon boy targets right over here. 764, 1047, and 1222. Okay. The reason these are our take profit levels is simply because these are the major fibs when you take a fib from the last all-time high down to the bear market low. Okay, so it's doing the exact same thing as Doge, the Livermore speculative chart. You have a lot of people doubting the move up. Like, it turns into a disbelief rally. So with every single move up, right, you get a new wave of bulls, and with every single move down, you have the bears screaming, saying, "Ah, I was right. It's gonna crash." And then they're doubting this whole move, right? They're unsure of where it's gonna go because it's just been going up and down, up and down. You know, the average investor doesn't know about the Livermore speculative chart, because why would they know about it? So they're thinking, oh, okay, it's dead, it's done for, and then all of a sudden you get this move, and then that's when the disbelief sets in, and then they're fully priced out. So yeah, it's good. It's a good coin, very bullish on it, and yeah, this is ADA. And you know what? Something that I also noticed on ADA is that when you take a look at the stock RSI on the 2-week time frame, look what I notice here, guys. We're right at the lows. And every single time, every single time we came down to these lows, we had a nice push up. And we have 7 touch points here. So it's likely that the next push up is going to be definitely one to watch. Okay? 2 weeks. And the good thing about the 2-week stock RSI, or the good thing about the stock RSI indicator, is that there's only one high and one low. Right? So it doesn't confuse you. Right? You know that when it comes down here, you're going to see a push up. And every single time we've topped out when we came up here. So yeah, very bullish on ADA. I think it's going to do very well. Let's go back to XRP over here. And yeah, everything is playing out as planned. Like I said, you may get some weekend manipulation, weekend shakeout. That doesn't mean you should panic or sell your bags, because the real parabolic move hasn't occurred yet. Okay? I'm going to pop up this chat. Let me see what you guys are asking for. And yeah. Okay, let's take a look at MATIC. What's up, Satilla? Satilla is in the Discord. And yeah, we'll take a look at MATIC. Sure. You know, MATIC has been pure hell for holders. And I think that in 2025, we're finally going to see the expansion to the upside. it does look like it's doing Wyckoff reaccumulation, much like how XRP is doing Wyckoff reaccumulation. Okay, usually Wyckoff reaccumulation, it forms in wave 4. So you have your wave 1, right? Your wave 2, it tends to form Wyckoff accumulation. And then you have your wave 3, and then your wave 4 would be Wyckoff reaccumulation. And then you go in for your wave 5. So this is your 1, your 2, your 3, 4, and then your 5. So let's go ahead and take a look at MATIC and apply the same concept. Okay, yeah, this is MATIC. Okay, you see how on MATIC, let's go on the 3-day time frame here. You see how on MATIC we were creaking down over here? Just creaking down, up and down, up and down, and then you get this sudden move below the bottom of the range. Okay, this would be considered your spring. This is where all of the retail sell their bags. This does look like a WXY correction. It does look complete. Now, for extra confirmation that the bottom is in on MATIC, we would simply want to see a move above the 30-week moving average or the 200-day moving average. It's basically the same thing. Okay, so that would be sitting at 0.2698. We're currently at 0.23. So if this goes up by about 4 more cents and then gets a daily or a 3-day close above this level, then it's very likely that MATIC has bottomed, and we're going to go in for the third phase of the market cycle. So you have your wave 1 right here, your WXY correction. Notice how this WXY correction for your wave 2 is very sharp, very quick. Because we had that sharp wave 2, this is the reason we have such a long and drawn out wave 4. This is the law of alternation in the Elliott wave theory. Now, what do I mean by third phase in MATIC's market cycle? Well, you have your accumulation, just chops around, messes around with all of the shorters and those who are longing, and then you have your manipulation. Okay, this is where you break below psychological support and all of the retail traders give up, right? Because they think, oh, it's done. Hasn't done anything for this long and now it's breaking below support. Might as well just sell it all, right? So they sell over here, but who are they selling to? They're selling to the composite operator. The composite operator is the hidden hand in the market, the hidden hand who controls the price. So max supply enters into the market, but that would be the perfect opportunity for the market maker to absorb that supply. So this is your first phase, which is your accumulation, your second phase, which is your manipulation, and then your third phase is your distribution. So this is the markup phase, okay? And over here, like I was showing you guys on Flare, this is where retail traders are buying. They're buying so hard over here. But on the flip side, that would give the market maker the perfect opportunity to offload their bags because they have the most liquidity to do so. Okay, so this is what's happening with MATIC. You just have to give this coin a little patience. But if you go up 4 cents and then you get a daily close back above this 30-week, then we should be good to go. This was your spring. This would be your test, and then you go up for your jump across the creek, right? Same structure as XRP. The only difference is that this is taking way longer. And remember, the longer it takes, the more explosive it'll be. This is 1500 days, okay? just a reminder, XRP was consolidating for over 2,700 days before it had its push to the upside. So this is nothing. Yeah, this is MATIC, and I think it's going to do well. Thank you so much, Torin. I really appreciate the super chat. We're going to take a look at SHX for sure. Let's see. FJ is saying the purple crown is XPR. Yeah. Okay. And Dent. Yeah, we'll take a look at Dent. Good morning, Mina. Glad to have you in the live. Pleasure to see you. Let's take a look at SHX, and then we'll take a look at Dent. We're going to take a look at Litecoin CRO. You know, I saw something really interesting on Litecoin on the 12-month chart. I was showing my Discord members. Before we take a look at SHX, I just want to quickly look at Litecoin, because this is going to be a really big opportunity for those that are still looking for a coin to get into. Let's take a look here. This is Litecoin, okay? Taking a look here at the 12-month chart on Litecoin, we can see that it's printing this wedge here. Do you guys see this? And this 12-month candle closes in about 5 months and 13 days. So, and we are also above the major daily moving averages. We're also above the 9-week moving average. So I think before this candle comes to a close, we're going to see that pop up on Litecoin above 423 and above 600 as well. So if you take a fib from this high down to this low, we'd be taking a look at 584, 642, 931, and then these are the moon boy targets right here. Okay, it could definitely go higher than that, but this is what we see so far. Let's take a look at SHX. So you know SHX is holding up very well, and you know it was doing the same thing back in the last bull market as well. Doesn't have that much history, but on this chart, but I remember SHX back in the last bull market. It's really strong. So I was pointing this out in the previous stream, is that it looks like we're coming up for a C wave of your macro B. Now this can be viewed in two different ways. Okay, it's either that this is your 5-wave move, right? So this is your wave 1, your wave 2, your 3, 4, and 5. Then you have your 3 down in your A, your 3 up in your B, taking you to 0.033 to 0.05. And then you'd come down in a 5-wave move for your C wave. Or it can be regarded as just a 4th wave. So this would be your wave 1, this is your wave 2, this is your 3rd wave, this is your 4th, and now we're working on our wave 5 of 5 to the upside. So it doesn't look like SHX has topped out yet. So don't sell your SHX yet. Just give it a little bit more time. Wait for it to have a little bit more of a volatile push to the upside to sweep the top of this range. Just a reminder, whenever you have a range in the market, whatever market you're trading, you always want to look, you don't want to touch the position until you see the deviation above the range. And the same thing could be said for the downside. You don't want to touch the position or add to the position until you see deviation below the range, right? And so far we haven't seen that deviation yet. We have yet to see it. So continue to hold your SHX. We're holding above the 30-week moving average very well, as you guys can see. These are the interim resistance levels right over here. Okay, finding some resistance. Actually, we're above the 618. Next target on SHX is at 0.017. Get above 0.017, then it's very likely that we'd be heading towards 0.03, 0.04, and this region right here, okay? Heading to these levels. Okay, yeah. Okay, now that doesn't mean that once SHX gets up here, it's gonna do this. Boom. It doesn't mean that. It could go range bound here, and that's usually what market makers do. The market maker will never sell everything in one shot, unless it's a coin like I forgot what coin that was. I think it was a coin on base. I don't remember, but it's unlikely that the market maker will sell everything in one shot. What they do is they like to form a distribution range. So like let's say this is your top right here, right? The market maker won't sell it all and make the price do that, because it wouldn't work in their favor. You usually see something like this, right? And every single time it gets to the top of the range, they sell, right? So they slowly sell, and then once the distribution is complete, once they've sold all their tokens, then you have the markdown phase, okay? That's usually how tops work in markets. It's never really a straight drop down. Let's take a look at Bitcoin over here. Taking a little bit of a beating here. So yeah, it's coming down for maybe a subwave 4. This is your 1, your 2. This is your 1, your 2, okay, could be your 3, your 4, and then your 5, could be. Now we're coming down for your, and then this would be your 3, coming down for a 4, before we go up for a 5. Okay, something like this. Okay, and then this. would be a 1, 2. This would be a 3, right? Wherever this lands out at. And then you come down for a 4. And then you have that 5 up to around 140 to 160. Something like this. Okay. So we're just grinding it out. We haven't topped or anything like that. It's just weekend manipulation. We'll see how it all plays out as the price develops, but yeah, nothing to worry about. Okay, so KDA, we'll definitely take a look at that. Thank you so much for the super chat, Declan. Really appreciate it. We're going to take a look at Cody. What's up, Frank? Hope all is well, bro. You know, Frank was, when I started Pip Snipers, Frank was the first member who joined the group. So, yeah, shout out to Frank. Let's see here. Okay, let's take a look at Cody. Then we'll take a look at Dent, KDA, Corium. Yeah, for sure. No problem. Let's take a look here. Cody. You know, Cody was so big in the last bull market in 2020, 2021. Okay, now, do you guys see this structure? How it's like, it's kind of like a rounding top, and this reminds me so much of XLM before it blasted off. Like, take a look here at XLM, okay? I'm going to show you guys this. Okay, so now look here. You see this? You see this structure? It's the exact same. You had your, or sorry, this structure right here. I should show it like this. Okay. You had your low come in. You had your low come in. You had your 1, 2, 3. Your 1, 2, 3. Then you had your A, B, C down, and your A, B, C down. What happened to XLM after that ABC came in? This is what happened. Do you guys see that? A nice 7x move up from the lows. So I think something very similar will happen to Cody, because we still need to have this next leg up, okay? And it's likely going to take out this high right here. This is a big supply zone, okay? We're likely going to find some resistance here. We can take a fib from, so let's go back to XLM here. If we took a fib from this high over here on XLM down to this low, look where XLM topped out at in January, right at the 4.236. Okay, do you guys see that? And then we fell. We went into a correction, dropped by over 65%. So if we can apply the same thing to Cody and take a fib from this high down to this low, 4.236 takes us to $1.03. So this is your sweet spot right here on Cody. Okay, it's actually a really nice setup. Thanks for letting me know about this. But yeah, Cody looks really good. I like this coin. I may buy some of this after the stream ends. But yeah, this is what I think on Cody. It's going to go to 65 cents to $1.03, as long as we can hold above this 786 886 retracement. Okay, so as long as it can hold above these two levels at 0.043 to 0.053, then we should be good for a move up. Now, I just want to show you guys something on XLM. When you are down here, look how choppy it was, guys. You guys see how choppy it was? Like, it would drive, if you were looking at this chart constantly, it would drive you insane. So you're going to see a lot of chop on Cody. Like, you're going to see stuff like this. But ultimately, I would be expecting that parabolic rise to occur. And from current price, be about a 9x, 13x, and 16x. So yeah, very, very bullish on this coin. Okay, and then this could be your A, your B, and then your C wave, like that. And then you go in for the bear market or the correction. And then when Cody gets up to this yellow region, what you want to do is pull out your RSI, and you want to look for bearish divergence. So you're going to have a high like this, and then once you see it come up here, then you can be cautious. Okay, you'll see something like that. I'm sure of it. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so yeah, that's what I see on Cody. Really, really bullish. Okay, let's take a look at KDA, and then we'll take a look at Degan. Mina is saying, I thought Cody bankrupt. I'm not sure. Are they like the company Cody? I have no idea. But the chart is super bullish, especially, you know, if we can get above this 30-week moving average. But by the time we get above the 30-week moving average, it'll be already too late to catch an entry. I mean, you could, but I think it'll move too fast at that point. Okay, let's take a look here at KDA, DGB, and what else? Let's see. Degan. Okay, let's take a look at KDA. So now, this is what I drew on KDA. And I think it's gonna break out. You can see that we've already come up to the 30-week moving average. As soon as you get a 3-day or a daily close above the 30-week moving average at 0.554, then it's on for KDA. We're likely going to move up to this daily supply. You can see how many times you rejected off of it. Rejected off of it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So coming up here again and rejecting wouldn't be something out of the ordinary. But I wouldn't advise to sell your bags there, because there's only so much price can come up to supply and see a sustained breakdown. It's likely we're going to see a minor, or what's called a partial decline, before you have continuation up, and this is where you'd want to be selling at these fibs: 2.618, 3.618, and 4.236 extension right up here. I think I made another KDA chart on this layout over here. Let's check it out. Oh, okay. I don't think I did, but let me see over here if I did. Just making sure. Okay. Yeah, so very simple, right? KDA, it's going to come up to this high time frame supply. You're likely going to see a retrace, considering we've seen a retrace every single time it's come up there. The RSI is most likely printing bullish divergence, which we see over here. You see how we have? We'll go on the 3-day. You see how we have consecutive lower lows, but then we have consecutive higher lows on the RSI, and then the 2-week stock RSI is turning up from the lows. So it's very, very likely the bottom is in on KDA. And then we'd be making a move up to here, see a little bit of a retrace, and then you have your continuation. Okay. And then to find the exit targets, all we have to do is just fib this. Okay, right over here. This is where you want to look to take profit. This region right here. Really nice coin. I like it. And look where we came down to. We came down to the July 2021 low before KDA did over 89x. So we could be seeing something similar. Okay. There is a possibility. And then you see how we came up in a 3-wave move? And then we came down in a 3-wave move. This could be your 3-wave move up, and then we end up forming a triangle on the macro. And yeah, it would be really cool if we did that. But yeah, bullish on KDA. Really bullish. Okay, Gala. So we're gonna take a look at Gala. Let's take a quick look at Dent. I really love Dent, guys. So this is Dent, okay? And if we go down to the hourly time frame, this is what I would be expecting. This could be wrong, right? Because a lot can change on the hourly time frame. So be very careful taking any trades based off this small time frame analysis. But what I'm expecting here is just simply we come down to this trend line a bit, maybe even lower like this, and then we continue the grind up to this supply zone that we used back in February and May. See how we dropped every time we came up to this supply zone? Dropped over here, over here. So I expect to move right back up to this supply zone. If you get above it, then we're looking at a move to the top of this macro supply zone right over here. See some consolidation and then continuation up. Okay, right over here. So it'd be about a nice 33x. Now, the reason we're saying it's going to do 33x, and you know, same thing as KDA, lower lows on the 3-day RSI since August, higher lows, and the 2-week stock RSI is turning up. Do you guys see this? Exact same thing as KDA, and then this is the exact structure as what XRP did. you have your wedge, and then at the apex of the wedge, you have Wyckoff accumulation for over 1,000 days. We're just missing one part, and that's the markup phase. Now, I want to show you guys why I think we're going to do 33x. It's because of the market cap chart. So if you take a fib on Dent's market cap chart from the all-time high down to the low, we can see the 1.618 is sitting there at 2.59 billion. And that would just be just above the 786, right over here. So you're going to come up to the 786 here and likely see a little bit of a wick above it. And that wick would take you to 0.026, which would be 2.59 billion in the market cap chart. And then you'd be coming up to this diagonal trend line. And then you'd likely see a push down from there. Okay, so very confident on Dent. You can clearly see that we have accumulation. There is a vested interest in accumulating this coin, because every single time we come down to this low, we see a push up. But every single time we come up to this supply, we see a push down. So what does that mean? That means that the market maker is buying into weakness and selling into strength every single time. And the reason they're doing this is so they can accumulate more coins. They can just increase their holdings, especially when it dips below the psychological support, which it did over here on June 21st. Okay, so yeah, this is what I see on Dent. Kyle is saying XRP, only coin that matters. That's what Kyle is saying. Yeah, XRP is good, man, but there's a lot of money to be made in other coins for sure. This is XRP. Not sure if you've seen this analysis already at the beginning of the live, but this is what I think on XRP. It's just following this reaccumulation schematic perfectly. So coming down for a little bit of a retrace wouldn't be something out of the ordinary. Okay, just be considered weekend manipulation. Wouldn't advise long-term holders to sell any XRP over here. Just wait until we get more of a push up. So Bitcoin Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. We'll take a look at Flux. And KuCoin has the whole history. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Flux. I remember this coin in the last bull market. Okay, I really like this coin, and I'll tell you exactly why. This was our psychological support, okay? This is your psychological support right here. And what did we do? We came down below it for manipulation. And we're now above all of the major daily moving averages. If you look a little bit closer, the 21-day moving average is crossing up above the 50-day moving average. So you have a 21 and 50-day moving average cross. And every single time we got something like that, we saw a push up. Right? And that usually goes with mostly every altcoin. Okay? So we see that. So it is trending up. More importantly, we're above the 9-week moving average. Do you guys see that? We're above the 9-week. And we can also look at the 200-day. Okay? We're not above the 200-day yet, but as soon as you get above it, it's going to move so fast. Because that's usually what happens in the markup phase. You have your accumulation here. This is where all of the retail accumulate their coins, especially at resistance, right? And the market maker knows this. That's why they're selling into every advance. Remember what I was saying with Dent. There's a vested interest. I could tell there's a vested interest of market makers accumulating that want to accumulate the coin, because every single time we get up to this level, up to the highs of the range, there's a sell-off. Every single time we get to the lows of the range, we see a nice push up. So the market maker drove the price down below psychological support, which is right over here. We're above the 21 and 50-day moving average. As soon as you get above the 200-day moving average, or as soon as you reclaim this range as support, we're going to go into distribution. So this is accumulation, the red box. This is manipulation, the yellow box, and then you go into distribution right over here, and it's very likely will take out the last all-time high. Okay, so this is what's called the power of 3 setup. I'll show you guys right over here. Okay. Do you guys see that? This is exactly what Flux is doing. So now what we can do is we can take a fib from the peak of the range down to the trough, and let's take a look at our sell targets. So you want to look, this is our sweet spot right over here on Flux, okay? And this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have your A, then you have your A, B, C, and then your C wave down like this. And then this would be your A wave, this would be your B wave, and then we come up for a C wave like that. That would make the most sense. And you take out these highs. So you'd want to look to become a seller when it goes above 325. You can take partials here at 275, but look to become a seller when it goes and takes out these highs. Okay, and then you go in for the bear market from there. And I bet you guys that we see bullish divergence here. Let me just see. Let me just see to make sure. Okay, two week stock RSI is turning up from the lows, and just like I said, we have bullish divergence, a lower low and then a higher low, just like that. Okay, very, very bullish. So yeah, that's Flux. Really nice coin. I like this coin. So Blondes is asking, how is DogeGF doing? So I like DogeGF. You know, if Doge is going to do well, DogeGF is going to do really good as well. And I believe we took a look at it in the Discord. Yeah, so this is DogeGF. You see, every single time for over 1,000 days, we've never had a weekly close below this support. You see, every single time. The only time we did that was over here in April of 2025. This was where smart money is accumulated. This was your manipulation. At the same time, we've never had a weekly close above this diagonal trendline resistance. Do you guys see this? We've never had a weekly close above it, but this will likely be the first time we have a weekly close above this diagonal trendline resistance. So you have your manipulation where all the smart money buys, you have your initial advance, your throwback, and now we're having continuation up, considering, oh yeah, we're also above the 21, 50, and 200-day moving average. So it does look like DogeGF is entering into expansion. And yeah, this would be the next interim target right here. It would come up to this supply zone. So yeah, I do expect a nice rise on DogeGF, but a nice 4x to that supply zone. I think it's going to go higher though, but we will analyze it when the time comes. Let's take a look at Gala. Now, you know what I like about Gala? And don't worry guys, I'll try to take a look at all of your requests. We've been doing this live for about an hour and 20 minutes now, so we still have thinking of going on for about 30-40 more minutes. So don't worry, we'll get to all of your requests. But you know what I like about Gala? I was telling this to my Patreon members yesterday, is that it's doing Wyckoff redistribution to a T. Now I'm going to show you what Wyckoff redistribution is. Okay. This is Wyckoff redistribution. So this is the move, this move over here, this last push up, that's the move you want to look to capitalize on. And this is exactly what the DXY did. You know, let's take a look here at the DXY. Okay, this is the DXY. The DXY had a downtrend. This was your downtrend. And this was your pause in the markets. This was your redistribution schematic. In the redistribution schematic, you had a 335 Elliott wave flat pattern. Okay, so you have your A, B, C for your A. You have your A, B, C for your B. And then you have a 5-wave move to the upside for your C wave. This is the move you want to capitalize on before you have continuation of the original trend. So now, what do we see when we take a look at Gala? Let's take a look. Same exact thing, guys. Same exact thing. Okay. You have your 5-wave move down. Right? This is your 5-wave move. Then you have your A, B, C for your A, your A, B, C for your B, and then you have your 5-wave move to the upside for your C wave. Okay. This 5-wave move will likely top out at around 21 to 35 cents. And something that I also noticed that's very interesting is that we have bullish divergence going back to August. Lower lows on the 3-day, but higher lows on the 3-day RSI. Okay, so on the small time frame, you may see a little bit of rejection at this supply zone, considering we saw rejection over here back in February and in May. That doesn't mean sell. Remember what I said, do not sell your position until you see expansion above the range. You may see a little bit of a retrace here. Don't panic, it'll likely be a wave too. But getting above this 30-week moving average would likely confirm a move towards our second supply zone from around 0.05 to 0.069. You may see a little bit of a retrace there, but don't worry, we're going to likely continue on higher towards our redistribution targets. And you know, when the DXY was down over here, I was telling my members that we're going to come right up to 110 at the 702. You see how it perfectly came up to the 702 here? And then we saw continuation of the trend. So I see the exact same thing on Gala. I really think we're going to do this as long as we can, as long as the lows can hold. Then it wouldn't surprise me that we see this move up here. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at Degan. I know we saw Degan in the last stream, but we're going to just take a quick look at it. Let's check it out. Sorry, before we take a look at Degan, let's just take a quick look at XDC, okay? So XDC is bottomed out. This was our manipulation. And yeah, it looks like we're going to go in for your fifth wave here. Very similar to that of XRP. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have your fifth wave up. And then these would be all of the sell targets. Okay? Just like this. Very simple. It's going to see a continued move up. And it's going to be fast too. I know XDC, when it moves fast. Okay, let's take a look at Degan. Just trying to get the most history on this coin here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it looks really bullish on the linear chart. You can see we have 3 touch points here. And this simply looks like we're in a wave 3 to the upside. Right? This is your wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have an extension of the fifth wave with the fifth wave topping out at the 1.786 extension, right? So this would be, like I said in the last live stream, our wave 1. Then you have your A, B, C correction down for your wave 2. And then it looks like we're just slowly grinding up for your wave 3 before the volatility kicks in and the speed. Okay, so as long as Degan stays above 0.0315, then it's very likely we're within our third wave to the upside. Right now it's just chop city, okay? But remember, if Degan can stay above this level at 0.0031, then it's likely we're within the third wave to the upside. to find your third wave targets, we're going to take a fib from this high down to this low. And we'd likely come up to the 2.618 right here. Because that would be the 78.6% fib when you take a fib from the November 2024 high down to the April low. So at around 0.018 to 0.019 would be a nice, let me see, nice 3.4x from current prices. And then you never know, like it may not go past this level. It may go past it. We'll monitor it as the price develops and when the time comes, but it may just be a lower high. So that's something you must be mindful of as well. Or it could be impulsive. We'll see as the price develops, but so far the next major target on Degan would be this level right here at 0.018, and from current price that would be about a 3.4x. From down here, if it dipped lower, about a 4x and maybe even a 5x if it dipped down to the 786. But yeah, bullish on Degan, bullish. And then on the stock RSI, bullish on the 2-week stock RSI. Okay. Frank is saying I'm gonna win our flare bet. So Frank and I, we had a bet that if flare is going to tank or if it's going to take off, and yeah, he is going to win it for sure. Let's go back to flare here. I'm so bullish on flare now that it's gone above our invalidation level. Let me just see over here. Let me just pull it up. Yeah, flare is going to do well. Flare is going to do very well. This is the daily time frame. I was showing this in the beginning of the stream. It does look like we are within wave 3 to the upside as long as flare can stay above 0.016. If flare can stay above 0.016, then we're already within wave 3, and the next major point of interest would be this supply zone. Okay? From 0.05 to 0.059. Once we get up here, if we find resistance, if we reject off of it, do not sell your bags, because it'll likely be a partial decline before we head into a wave 5 extension. TP levels would be around 12 to 13 cent, 18 to 19 cent, and then 26 to 30 cent. Remember to take profit, okay? Remember the reason you're in crypto. The reason we're all in crypto is to make money. So taking profit is essential. Don't forget. But yeah, flare looks really good. It's above all of the major daily moving averages. Let's check it out here. We're above the 200-day moving average as well. You know, this is pretty much all that matters. As long as we're above that 200-day, then we're very bullish. And you guys see these wicks on the daily? It's going to fill these wicks in. So it's likely in the next maybe 2 to 4 days, flare is going to come up here like this to 0.02 to 0.022. So yeah, looks really good. Okay, let's take a look at Pi Network and Casper. We'll also take a look at QNT, Cake. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So let's take a look at QNT, because every live stream we do QNT. The only live stream that we didn't do QNT, I think it was the last one, but I'm not sure if we did or not. But every live stream we take a look at QNT. So let's go ahead and check this out. And then we'll look at Cake. I really like that coin, Cake. I have a lot of that coin. Okay, so QNT. You may come down for a little bit, like I was saying in the last live stream. Now I remember doing this. In the last live stream, I did say that we could come down for a C wave, but considering we have come up to the supply zone, which we rejected off of in December, in January by over 50%. We also rejected off of it in June. So this could be your A, your B, and then your C wave, and then we have an explosive wave 3 like that. The wave 3 would likely take you to around 276 to 339, but that's not where you want to be selling your quant. You'd want to look to sell your quant when it goes above the last all-time high to around 509 to 654. You may even see a little bit of a throw over to around 700, 750. I'll show you. Yeah, like right here. This is the sweet spot on QNT. Now, if QNT gets above 654 to 700 to 717, then it's likely going to go for 1,000, 1,400, and 1,600. But right now, I'm just projecting QNT to make a B wave high before coming down for a C wave low for your bear market in 2026. Okay? And then in the next bull market, we go up for those higher targets at 1,600, 2,000, etc. This is the full wave count on QNT going back to August 2018. See how you have your leading diagonal here, your bear trap, your 2020 bull market, and then this is your range that QNT has been forming. So yeah, really like this coin. The thing about QNT is that it moves on its own. It just, when it goes, and it goes really hard. Okay, Casper. So we'll take a look at a few more coins. Oh yeah, XLM. I forgot to do XLM. Okay, we're gonna look at XLM, and we're gonna look at Cake. Mina is asking, between Dent and XDC, what's your pick? I would go for Dent, because look at XDC, guys. XDC is already had its run up. Well, it's doing its run up right now, but it's within the fifth wave. You guys see, this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going up for a fifth wave above 0.189. But Dent, on the other hand, look what Dent is doing. Dent is just still at the lows of its Wyckoff accumulation structure. And you know what coin is doing this? Or what did this? Let me show you guys. XRP did this. Boom. And boom. You guys see? And then at the apex of this wedge, you had accumulation. The only difference is that this is a different schematic. See, at the apex we have accumulation. So now we're just awaiting that push to the upside. So yeah, definitely Dent over XDC Mina for sure. Let's take a look at XLM. Okay, so this is XLM. Okay, and what do we see here on XLM? We see a wave 4 complete. So let me just remove this background a bit so you guys can see a little bit more clear. So this was your wave 3 high back in 2017, and then you had your A, your B, your C, your D, and then your E wave. And now, like I say, with your E wave, sometimes we terminate beyond the bottom or above the bottom of your C wave. So we just terminate like this, and then we go off. But most market participants think it's going to do this, but it actually just becomes truncated, and that's exactly what we were seeing on XLM. So this is XLM on the daily. Looks like we're still within our wave 3 to the upside. We may come down to any of these blue fibs as support for a wave 4, but ultimately we would be expecting a move towards $1.49 to $1.64 and $2.39 to $2.54, and then $3.29 to $3.85. I'll tell you exactly how I got those fibs. You just simply take a fib from the all-time high down to the all-time low on the linear scale. Okay, so you can get conservative targets. But yeah, this is where the E wave finished. This is where XLM's macro correction finished at. I know a lot of people would think that this is your wave 1, wave 2, this is your third and fourth wave, but I think that's incorrect. Because we moved up here in a 3-wave move. See, A, B, and then C. Then we moved down in a 3-wave move, A, B, C. So this was your E wave. And every single wave subdivides into 3. Okay, let's take a look at Cake. Let's take a look at Cake here. I think I did a Cake chart on this layout. Okay, Cake is so bullish. Let's check it out here. Okay, yeah, this is what I think on Cake. So it's breaking out of this pennant. Do you guys see that? It's breaking out of this pennant, finding a little bit of resistance at the 23.6% fib. This 23.6% fib was found by taking a fib from the all-time high down to the all-time low. So as soon as you get a daily close above 263, then Cake is off to the races. We're going to be heading up to this zone over here at around 450. We may see a little bit of a retrace, but ultimately we would be expecting continuation up to 10 to 15 bucks. And I remember doing this in the last live stream. This is hence why you see this red marking on the chart. I was showing that when we get up here, it's very unlikely that you're going to see a straight drop down. It's very unlikely we're going to see that. You're going to see market makers distributing their bag. So every single time we come up like this, they're going to sell their cake. Okay? And then it's going to drop back down to this support. And this is pure Wyckoff accumulation. But yeah, $7, we're going to see a little bit of resistance come in, but you guys can take partials there, not financial advice, but the real bulk of where profit should be taken is the $10 to $12 region, and save some coins aside just in case we hit 15 bucks. We could even go higher, honestly, but I want you guys to be safe. So around 10 to 15 bucks is the sweet spot on Cake. Before, I would be expecting an ABC correction back down to this Wyckoff accumulation resistance. And if you look over here, we've been going sideways for over 1100 days. So really bullish. But yeah, this is Cake. I think it's going to do well. And if you look over here at the Cake market cap chart, something I found so interesting is that it's just been grinding up this whole time. Hasn't made a lower low since September of 2023. That's 3 years. And then you also have liquidity trapped above these highs over here. This is what's called your equal high buy side liquidity. So it's even stronger. So we're gonna go up, take out these highs, and the reason I'm pulling up the market cap chart is because I wanted to show you guys that the 786 is at 3.56 billion. If Cake gets up here, that would be around $10 to $12 on the USD pair. Then it would come down for a retrace. Okay, that makes the most sense to me. But yeah. Thank you so much, Nate. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, let's take a look at Doge really quickly for Daniel. I believe we actually covered Doge at the beginning of the stream, but we'll touch on it again. We'll look at a few other coins, and then we will end the stream with total 3, and we will do another stream next weekend. Okay, so let's take a look here at Doge. Now, I was showing my Discord members Doge, and it's doing the Livermore speculative chart. It's just basically creating this funnel. Do you guys see? And you'll see this pattern play out so much in crypto. You'll see it play out on the small time frame and on the high time frame. Okay, whenever you have 7 touch points and the count should start from here, then it's likely that the next move will be to a new all-time high. And we already have 7 touch points here. Let me just remove these drawings here so you guys can see. Okay, this is your 1, your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Get above 20, and now we're above the 200-day moving average. We're about to get a weekly close above it. And yeah, it's going to take us right over here to $1.15 to $3.58. It's going to do really well. So Dubai Fitness is saying, please leave timestamps like last time. For sure. I'm going to go over the stream and I'll leave timestamps for sure. No problem. Okay, let's take a look at CRO. I know I promised you guys that I'd take a look at CRO. So let's take a look. So I made this chart on CRO last year. And yeah, it's looking really good. We'll check it out on the 3-day time frame. And remember what I said in the last live stream. CRO is Crypto.com's coin. Crypto.com is one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world. If Crypto.com is successful, CRO will be successful as well. We've just finished this Wyckoff reaccumulation structure, and now we're going up for your wave 3, 4, and 5. Take a look at this on the weekly, and this is what I'd be expecting. A move up to around 51 to 77 cent, which would be a nice three to 5x, and then take profit there, not financial advice, and leave some coins aside for the move above the last all-time high at $1.10 to $2.49. So these two levels right here, okay? And you know, it may seem like every coin is pumping except your coin, and that's okay. You know, a lot of people felt that way back in the last bull market, but don't worry, your coin will pop off more likely than not. It takes some time for money to rotate, and then you'll finally get that push. But the best thing you can do right now is just hold. Don't coin hop, because it's a really good way to lose money that way. But yeah, just hold, and you guys should be fine. Okay, so we're gonna end the stream by taking a look at total 3. And total 3 is about to break above the last all-time high. This is our wave 1, wave 2. Now I'm thinking that this is your 3rd wave. This is your 4th, and now we're coming up for a 5th. That's what I'm thinking here. I was usually I put the wave 3 over here, right? So this would be your wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of your wave 3, okay? Now we're within wave 3 of 5. So this would be your 1, 2, your 3, 4, and then your 5. Like this. Now what we can do is we can take a fib from this December high down to this April low. And you see where the 2.618 is? That's our sweet spot at around $1.98 trillion. And especially, let me see here. Okay, so let's just remove all of these irrelevant fibs. So you see how we're finding some resistance here at the 786 at 1.06 trillion, and we're seeing this on the weekend. So you may see a little bit of chop here, but don't panic. It's likely just a local top. wouldn't be anything to stress over. Okay, then we can take a fib from the all-time high in 2021 down to the low. And let's take a look here. This is your sweet spot. This is where you want to look to be cautious, okay? Be very cautious here. So yeah, that's what I see, guys. I think we're going to come up here. 1.66 to 1.97 trillion. As the price approaches here, we'll know better on where the pivot point will be, because the more price action that plays out, the more accurate we can gauge where the top will be at, right? So okay, so before we end the stream, I just want to take a look at a few more coins. We'll take a look at ICP. ICP is great. This is all ICP did. A, B, C. And you can see that that C wave came down to the 78.6% fib. Okay, that's usually where we see market reversals. So this would likely be your A wave, your B wave, and then we come up for a C wave. And then for the exit targets, you would just do this. Take a fib from the high down to this low, and right over here is where you want to look to ladder out, especially at the 1.786 extension. So here you could take partials here, and coming up here would make sense because look at where we rejected back in 2021. You see that? We fell by over 96% from that level. So coming up here, it wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary. I'd want you guys to look to take profit here because this is a big supply zone, big sell wall over here. But yeah, this is the live stream, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. It was a pleasure having you all here, answering all your questions. If you guys want more of this, if you guys like this type of content, then click the link in the description below to join the Discord and Patreon. You get all of your questions answered with a video response. And yeah, I hope to see you all in there. If not, then I'll see you guys next Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another live stream. Hope you all have a beautiful weekend. Peace out and take it easy. I'll see you guys in the next one.